There's a financial product that millions of people buy every year, and by the time they realize it's costing them hundreds of thousands of dollars, they're already a decade in, and it feels too late to walk away. The product is whole life insurance. And before you tune out because you think this doesn't apply to you, let me give you the one number that stopped me in my tracks. A healthy 30-year-old man can buy $500,000 of life insurance protection for about $30 a month. Or he can buy the exact same $500,000 of protection bundled with a savings account he doesn't control for $450 a month. Same coverage. Same payout if he dies. One option costs 15 times more, and the expensive one? It's the one being pushed hardest by far because it pays the person selling it 10 to 20 times more in commission. I know that sounds like I'm exaggerating, so let me earn it. Let me show you every number, walk you through every dollar, and by the end of this video, you'll be able to run the math yourself and decide. This whole video comes down to one idea I'm going to keep coming back to, and I want to name it up front so you can hold on to it. I call it the Swiss Army knife problem. You know, a Swiss Army knife, it's a knife, a screwdriver, a pair of scissors, a bottle opener, a tiny saw, all folded into one handle. And it is genuinely worse at every single one of those jobs than the dedicated tool. The scissors barely cut. The screwdriver strips screws. The blade wobbles. It's not that a Swiss Army knife is a scam. It has its place. But nobody building a house reaches for one instead of real tools. Whole life insurance is the Swiss Army knife of personal finance. It tries to be your life insurance and your investment account and your tax shelter and your emergency fund and your retirement plan, all in one product. And it does all of them badly compared to the dedicated tools. That's not an opinion, that's arithmetic. And I'm going to show you the arithmetic. Now let me be honest about something, because this is a math channel, not a hit piece. Whole life insurance is not a scam. It is a real, legal, regulated financial product backed by some of the oldest and most solvent companies in America. There are specific situations where whole life makes sense estate planning for very high net worth families, certain business succession strategies, people with complex trust structures. If you're worth $10 million and you're working with an estate attorney, whole life might be a perfectly rational piece of your plan. This video is not about those people. This video is about the 30-year-old, the 35-year-old, the 40-year-old who walks into a meeting or gets a call from a college buddy who just got licensed and gets told that whole life insurance is the responsible, grown-up, build wealth while you sleep move, that it's a guaranteed savings account that also protects your family, that you're essentially getting two things for the price of one. That pitch sounds great, it just doesn't survive the math. So let's build from the ground up. What is life insurance actually for? Strip away every sales pitch, every brochure, every complicated illustration, and life insurance does one thing. It replaces your income if you die. That's it. If you have people who depend on your paycheck, a spouse, kids, a family member, you support life insurance. Make sure they don't go from losing you to also losing the house. It's protection. It is not, and was never designed to be, a wealth-building tool. It's a safety net. And here's the thing about safety nets. You want them to be cheap, strong, and specific. You don't want your safety net to also be your retirement plan and your savings account and your investment vehicle for the same reason you don't want your parachute to also be your tent. You want your parachute to be the best possible parachute. That's the Swiss Army knife problem in one line. The more jobs you ask one product to do, the worse it does each one. Now let me show you what happens when you separate those jobs, when you use dedicated tools instead of a Swiss Army knife. I'm going to walk through a real scenario with real numbers you can verify. You're 30 years old, you're healthy, you don't smoke, you want $500,000 of life insurance to protect your family. You have two options. Option one, you buy a whole life policy. The quote comes in at roughly $450 a month. That's $5,400 a year, every year for the rest of your life. The policy gives you a death benefit of $500,000, and it starts building something called cash value, the savings account baked into the policy. We'll come back to that cash value, because that's where the whole thing falls apart. Option two, you buy a 20-year term life policy, same $500,000 in coverage, same you, same health, same age. The quote, about $30 a month, $360 a year. Same protection, 1/15 the price. Now, you're staring at a gap of $420 a month. That's the rent you're paying for. The Swiss Army knife features the built-in savings account, the permanent coverage, the cash value, $420 a month, every month, for decades. The question this entire video answers is simple. What would happen if you took that $420 and invested it yourself with a dedicated tool instead of handing it to an insurance company? But before we run that number, I need to show you where your money actually goes in a whole life policy, because this is the part nobody explains in the sales meeting, and it's the part that makes the math so devastating. When you write that first check for $450, some of it goes toward the actual cost of insuring your life. Some goes to the company's overhead. Some goes toward building your cash value. And a significant portion in the first year especially goes straight to the person who sold you the policy. How much? Life insurance agents typically earn 40 to over 100% of the first year premium on a whole life policy. Let's take a reasonable middle estimate, 70%. Your annual premium is $5,400. 70% of that is $3,780. Out of your first year of payments, nearly $3,800 goes directly to the agent's commission and company expenses. In year 2, the renewal commission drops to something like 2 to 5%. But that first year, you're funding someone else's income more than you're funding your own future. And here's what that means in practice. Your cash value, that savings account you were promised, is usually worth exactly $0 at the end of year 1, sometimes 0 at the end of year 2. You've paid $5,400, possibly over $10,000 by the end of year 2. Your investment is worth nothing. You start the race in a hole. The Swiss Army knife isn't just an inferior tool, it charges you extra for the privilege of being inferior. Term life, by the way, also pays the agent a commission. But because your premium is only $30 a month, $360 a year, even a generous 50% commission is $180. The incentive structure tells you everything. An agent earns roughly 20 times more selling you the whole life policy. I'm not saying every agent recommending whole life is acting in bad faith. Many genuinely believe in the product. But when one option pays 20 times more than the other, you should at least know that before you sit down for the pitch. Now let's run the number that matters. The buy term and invest the difference number. This is the dedicated tools strategy, a sharp, cheap blade for protection and a heavy-duty engine for wealth building. You buy the 20-year term policy for $30 a month. You take the $420 you would have spent on whole life, and every single month, you put it into an S&P 500 index fund. No stock picking, no fancy strategy. Just the boring, broadly diversified index fund that Warren Buffett himself has said is the best investment most people can make. The S&P 500 has returned an average of about 10% per year over the last 30 years, with dividends reinvested. Let me be conservative. Let's not use 10. Let's use 8% to account for the fact that nobody can predict the future, and some 30-year stretches will be worse than others. I'd rather undercount and be surprised than overcount and mislead you. $420 a month, 8% annual return, 30 years. Here's the math. Your monthly contribution is $420. Your monthly growth rate is about 0.67%. That's 8% divided by 12. Over 360 months, compounding does what compounding does. Your total contributions, the money you actually put in, come to about $151,000. But the account doesn't grow in a straight line. It curves. Slowly at first, then faster, then dramatically faster, because every month the returns are compounding on a larger and larger base. After 30 years at 8%, that $420 a month has grown to approximately $625,000. Sit with that for a second. $625,000. And that's at the conservative estimate. If you run it at the historical average of 10%, the number climbs to approximately $950,000, nearly $1 million, from $420 a month in a plain index fund. Now, let's look at the Swiss Army knife. After 30 years of paying $450 a month into your whole life policy, what do you have? Your total premiums paid come to $162,000. Your cash value, that built-in savings account, might be worth somewhere around $250,000. Maybe a little more if you're with a strong mutual company that pays good dividends, maybe less if you're not. The guaranteed growth rate on most whole life cash value accounts runs between 2 and 4%. That's the rate the insurance company contractually promises, and it is far below what even a basic bond fund pays in most decades. So let me put both paths side by side. After 30 years with whole life, you have roughly $250,000 in cash value. After 30 years with buy term and invest the difference, you have roughly $625,000 in a brokerage account conservatively. That's a gap of $375,000. At the historical average return, the gap is $700,000. You paid for the Swiss Army knife. You got Swiss Army knife results. But here's where it gets worse, and I need you to read this next part slowly, because it's the fact that made me stop and recheck my own notes. If you die with a whole life policy, your beneficiaries receive the death benefit, the $500,000. That part works exactly as promised. But the cash value? The $250,000 you spent decades building, the insurance company keeps it, your family gets the death benefit, the company keeps the cash value. Those are two separate buckets, and only one of them goes to your family. I know that sounds wrong. It sounds like it can't possibly be how it works. But in a standard whole life policy, the kind most people buy, the kind most agents sell, that is exactly how it works. The cash value is absorbed into the death benefit payout. Your family doesn't get $500,000 plus $250,000. They get $500,000, period. The insurance company retains the cash value. Now run the Swiss Army knife comparison one more time, but this time from the perspective of your family if you die. With whole life, your family gets the $500,000 death benefit. The cash value disappears into the insurance company's balance sheet. With buy term and invest the difference, your family gets the $500,000 death benefit from the term policy, the exact same payout, plus they inherit the brokerage account. At the conservative 8% estimate, that's $625,000 in liquid, accessible cash. No insurance company involved. No surrender charges. No waiting period. Just money in an account with their name on it. Total to your family with whole life, $500,000. Total to your family with buy term and invest, $1,125,000. Same monthly budget, same starting age, dedicated tools versus the Swiss Army knife. Now let me be honest about the catches, because there are real ones, and pretending they don't exist would make this a hype video instead of a math video. Catch number 1. The stock market is not guaranteed. Whole life's cash value grows at a guaranteed rate low, but guaranteed. The S&P 500 can lose 30% in a single year, as it did in 2008. Over 30 years, the market has always recovered and delivered strong returns historically. But historically is not the same as guaranteed, and nobody, including me, can promise what the next 30 years will look like. If you are someone who genuinely cannot stomach volatility, who would panic sell during a crash, the guaranteed growth of whole life has psychological value, even if it has less mathematical value. Catch number 2, term life insurance expires. Your 20-year term runs out when you're 50. If you still need coverage after that, and many people do, you'll need to buy a new policy. And at 50, your premiums will be significantly higher. And if your health has deteriorated, you might pay a lot more, or even be denied coverage. This is a real risk. And it's the strongest argument whole life agents make. Whole life never expires. That's true, but here's the counterpoint. If you've been investing $420 a month for 20 years, you may have built enough wealth that you're self-insured. You don't need a company to promise your family money, because you already have the money. That's the whole point of the strategy, to build your own safety net instead of renting one forever. Catch number 3, discipline. This entire strategy only works if you actually invest the difference, every month, for decades. If you buy the cheap term policy and spend the savings on dinners and vacations, you'll end up with neither the cash value nor the brokerage account. Whole life forces savings. It's a rigid structure, and for some people, that rigidity is the feature. If you know yourself well enough to know you won't invest consistently on your own, that's worth weighing honestly. I'd still argue you'd be better off setting up an automatic monthly transfer to a brokerage account. It takes 10 minutes, and it mimics the forced savings without the massive fees, but I understand the counter-argument. Those are the real catches. I've given them to you straight. Now let me give you the context that puts them in perspective. The guaranteed growth rate on whole life cash value, that 2 to 4%, is guaranteed by a company that takes your premiums, invests them largely in bonds and real estate, earns 7 or 8% on those investments, pays you 2 or 3, and keeps the spread. That's their business model. There's nothing illegal about it. But you should know that the guarantee is funded by the difference between what they earn on your money and what they pay you. You're paying for the guarantee with lower returns. The guarantee is not free. It just looks free because the cost is hidden inside the spread. And here's the historical context. The S&P 500 has never delivered a negative return over any 30-year rolling period in its history. Not during the Depression, not during World War II, not during the stagflation of the 70s, not through the dot-com crash and the financial crisis back to back. Over every 30-year window since reliable data began, the market has been positive. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. That's a legal disclaimer, but it's also true, and I want you to hear me say that. But when someone tells you the market is risky and whole life is safe, ask them to define the time horizon. Over 1 year, they're right. Over 5 years, they have a point. Over 30 years, History says something very different. Let me zoom out for a moment and talk about why this matters beyond the individual numbers, because there's a structural reason whole life insurance persists despite the math. The life insurance industry in the United States collects hundreds of billions of dollars in premiums every year. A significant portion of agent compensation is front-loaded into the first year of permanent life insurance sales. That creates an incentive structure that is tilted not corrupt, not evil, but tilted towards selling the product that maximizes first-year commissions. An agent who sells you a term policy earns perhaps $150 to $200. The same agent selling you whole life earns potentially $3,000 to $4,000 or more. Same meeting, same hour of work, 20 times the paycheck. I want to be clear. Most insurance agents are not villains. Many entered the industry wanting to help people, but they were trained by companies that make their money on permanent life products, using materials designed to make whole life sound like the responsible, comprehensive choice. The training itself is the Swiss Army knife pitch. Why would your client want just a knife when they can have a knife, screwdriver, scissors, and bottle opener all in one? And the answer, which the training never teaches, is because dedicated tools work better, cost less, and leave more money in the client's pocket. So what do you actually do with all of this? Let me be practical, because a video that makes you angry but doesn't make you smarter is worthless. If you don't have life insurance yet, and you have people who depend on your income, buy term life insurance. Get a 20 or 30-year level term policy for 10 to 12 times your annual income. It will cost you less than your streaming subscriptions. Set up the policy, and then set up an automatic monthly investment into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund for the difference between what you would have paid for whole life and what you're actually paying for term. Automate it. Don't think about it. Don't touch it. Let compounding do the work for 30 years. If you already have a whole life policy, don't panic. Don't cancel it tomorrow out of frustration. That might actually cost you money, because surrender charges in the early years can eat most or all of your cash value. Instead, pull out your policy illustration that document your agent gave you and look at the guaranteed cash value column at year 10, year 20, year 30. Compare it to what you'd have if you invested the same total premiums in an index fund at 8%. Run the number. If the gap is as large as the math in this video suggests, we have a conversation with a fee-only financial advisor, not someone who earns commissions on products about whether it makes sense to do a 1035 exchange. Surrender the policy, or keep it as one small piece of a larger plan. If someone is pitching you whole life right now, ask them 3 questions. First, what is the total commission you earn on this policy in the first year? They might not answer, they're not always required to disclose, but the reaction tells you something. Second, what is the guaranteed cash value of this policy after 10 years, and what would the same premiums be worth in an index fund over the same period? Make them do the comparison. Third, when I die, does my family receive the death benefit plus the cash value, or just the death benefit? Watch their face when they answer that one. The Swiss Army knife problem is everywhere in personal finance. Products that bundle, products that promise to do 5 things at once. Products that sound comprehensive, they almost always cost more and deliver less than simple, dedicated tools used in combination. A cheap term policy plus a cheap index fund will outperform a whole life policy in nearly every scenario over a 30-year horizon. Not because the index fund is magic, not because insurance companies are evil, but because when you separate protection from investment, each tool can do its job without carrying the weight of the other. The knife can be sharp, the drill can be powerful. And neither one has to pretend to be something it's not. Here's the one line I want you to take from this video. If someone tells you a single product can protect your family and build your wealth and shelter your taxes and fund your retirement, ask yourself, is this a tool or is it a Swiss Army knife? Then run the number. You'll have your answer. If running the numbers before making a move is how you want to think about money, subscribe. That's the whole point of this channel. We do the math so you don't have to take anyone's word for it. I'll see you in the next